Hey everyone, it's 10 Types, joined by Uncommon Fossil. Today we're going to be going over the top 6 decks that are going to be great post-rotation sleeper picks. So we got some spicy pulls and plays for you here. And also just going forward with rotation, which is going to be in the beginning of next year at some point. We're going to lose a lot of important trainers and really good Pokemon, as well as special energy. So that's going to be all the sets from Sword and Shield through halfway up until Shining Fates here. So pretty much all these cards that are checked off you can't play, but we're still gonna have a lot. We got all the way Battle Styles through Silver Tempest, and we're gonna get some new sets, a new set and a half before rotation, I believe. So yeah, my first pick here is actually going to be Single Strike. So I think Single Strike's gonna maintain a lot of its important tools, and you can actually play it with Lugia Archeops. And so if you don't know Archeops, which you probably do, but pretty much just says accelerate special energy from your deck. We're losing a lot of really good special energies, but then we're going to keep we're keeping single strike energy, we're keeping impulse energy, so you can really accelerate a lot of energy to it, and then you can just hit really hard with stuff like the single strike package with Urshifu, which hits really hard, and then also Golurk V here. And this is really interesting for Psychic, Colorless, which does 180 damage, which is pretty bad. But this can be boosted up to 220 or so, which can KO Vs, and if you have single strikes and choice belts. And it says you can just devolve your opponent's Pokemon by putting the active's highest stage into their hand. So this means if you hit into a VMAX, V-Star, or even the new EXs that are coming out, which look pretty good, then you're just going to be able to KO it because you're going to devolve them and they're going to get KO'd. But what do you like? Do you think that single strike's going to be good?
Single strike's got it's been okay historically. I was thinking single strike just as a straight up single strike Urshifu, Houndoom, Umbreon V-Max deck. Houndoom's very good with the acceleration. The special energy, the single strike energy stays, so it's an option. The problem with the single strike traditionally is it didn't have an engine, and it's the engine Pokemon that are getting lost. But so in that sense, it doesn't suffer from that loss of an engine. It was always a little inconsistent. It would be. It's more consistent with Lugia, although I'm going to protest because you didn't want meta decks with this, and when you start off with Lugia Archeops, that's hard to say it's not a meta deck.
I guess, but Lugia Archeops is the whole meta, so it doesn't really if you're playing anything other than Lugia Archeops, you're hardly playing Pokemon, especially if you're playing Pokemon Live, which you know Lugia Archeops is everywhere. But
Yes.
single strike with Golurk V, I think spicy enough.
It's a different. I don't think the Golurk doesn't seem like it's going to add much, but
Why? Why don't you think it's good? I think it's pretty solid. I think it's nice because it KOs Vs and stuff and V stars.
yeah. Well, but you're hitting with the single strike Urshifu, and you're playing the single strike energy, right?
Yeah,
So aren't you gonna?
you'd play and the impulse energy.
Yeah. I mean, I guess they're both for energy, right? Golurk
Yeah,
and single strike's big attack.
yeah, which discards all the energy as well.
So, I mean, are you going to get the knockout of a V though?
Well,
You're
probably you can just accelerate 2 single strike, or you
right. So
can
you're
just get a choice
220.
spell.
Well, getting the choice belt's not that easy necessarily, right? Because we don't have a good engine.
Well, yeah, but you can just play 4 choice spell and they'll probably hit it when you need it.
Yeah, I mean, is that better than just attacking with single strike? Maybe you're given it's one less prize that your opponent can take.
Yeah,
Uh,
you might be taking less prizes as well if you're carrying a VMAX, but it's still probably getting the KO feels good.
yeah, I mean, look, it's certainly is fun to devolve your opponent's Pokemon.
Yeah,
So, you're looking for decks that are a bit of a reach, and I guess this qualifies.
yeah.
It's fair to say.
I think it's solid. I think there are some solid single strike Pokemon, and I think Golurk I think Golurk specifically is a sleeper pick, but single strike as a whole.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean, single strike hasn't gotten the respect that rapid strike did, and neither one's very strong of late.
Yeah. But,
So, shall I go ahead with my first pick
yeah,
now?
sure. Send it. Send it.
All right, so I'm taking the idea of an alternate deck to heart here, and it's a deck you've played, I've played, and just about everyone played because it was crazily overplayed. But Lunatone Solrock, right?
Yes.
So
Uh huh.
no, it was just almost seemed like half the matchup you saw for almost a month. That's what it was when Go dropped. Now the deck's not never been a top deck, but it's a pretty good deck, is what I'd say. And you
I
can win with it.
guess.
No, you can win with it. You got to be patient. It's a deck that needs some patience. You got to build up the damage. It as the game progresses, you get to one shot more. It's a bit like one of my other favorites, Malamar, in that regard.
I thought you were gonna say like it was like Blissey in that regard as well.
Yeah, well, Blissey seems like it does, but you either have to Sharon's carry or you're knocked out before you actually do
Yeah.
the big attack.
Oh no, we've been talking so long. Pokemon's kicked me off the server.
I know. What are you gonna? So anyway, so Lunatone Solrock. It's been, I think, a pretty good deck, and I think it's still gonna be a pretty good deck. It's losing in some important pieces for sure. Scoop up net's definitely a loss. You lose a couple other pieces, but I think it uses. To me, I like to play with the combination of Pokestop, Bruno, and Welcoming Lantern. I just think it sets it up pretty well. That sticks around, and it's a very simple deck. Obviously, you just have a few Pokemon. The one's ability accelerates the energies to the other, so you don't need a lot of pieces. So those three cards, I think, are enough of an engine to set up. You have Greninja to discard some energy, so you can accelerate with a Solrock. You're always Brunoing for a lot because you're always getting knocked out. So it works, I think.
Yeah, and then I guess you could play the. Would you ever play the Weirdeer V in that deck? The one that you sometimes see in Clefairy that like is the colorless one that moves energy to it when you like switch it in, or is that like not really something else? It seems like it could be good as well.
It's something to try out for sure. What it's 40 per energy attached. You're probably better off just attacking with the Lunatone, though. I would think most of the time.
Yeah, that's probably true. There's more health, but what's Lunatone's retreat cost as well? It's only one, so like you can get it out
one.
pretty easily. I do think losing Net's kind of bad, but it's not the end of the world. So yes, Lunarok's okay. I feel like Lunarok's just kind of bad though.
Well, look, the other deck I was thinking of for a single price deck was Castform, so I think it's a big step up from that.
Yeah, but that's like Castform's horrible.
It is. It is. It's a deck I will always want to see work, but it just doesn't.
Yeah. Okay, I'm gonna move on to my next deck. I think Lunarok's fine, but it's not losing much, which is fair, but like it's never really like that good. And also I think there's gonna be a lot of Sableye at the single price Sableye, which is bad, and like spread stuff. We see that in the Lugia, so it's kind of scary. But
Sableye, actually you're right. Sableye will be a big problem, and we're losing Big Parasol.
yeah.
So that could be would be devastating to a deck like Lunatone.
Yeah, and a lot of time if you're playing like Lunarok and you're against Sableye, you can kind of negate Sableye's like extra prizes by doing Scoop Nest, but now you can't really do that, so that's pretty annoying. But
yeah.
But so my spicy deck. I mean, they're all kind of spicy, but except for Lugia Arcaps. But it's actually Darkrai V-Star, which is pretty cool. I've never actually played with it much. Oh, apparently I have a 2, 3, whatever. I need to play that. But it's a really cool Pokemon that says it does 30 for each energy attached to each dark energy attached to all your Pokemon, 30 plus 30 per. A cool V-Star power that says you can recover item cards. And then, obviously, you want to get a lot of Dark Energy in play. And so we're losing Metal Saucer, but we're not losing Dark Patch. So we can use Dark Patch to get Dark Energy into play. You can also use the you can use, like, the Moltres, the Galarian Moltres V and the Baby Galarian Moltres to get more energy. And then you can also use probably in my opinion, the most underrated engine right now. I mean, there aren't that many engines to choose from, but it's the Gardevoir engine here, which plays the Curlia, which is the same as Cinccino and stuff like that, with the discard 1, draw 2. guard for, which just is a stage 2, says essentially draw 2, and you can accelerate any energy you hit there, which is really amazing for getting into big damage with Darkrai. And then Gallade, which says you can search for any supporter. And honestly, I think this is one of the better engines of the game right now. And I think post-rotation, losing some of the really good, like the Inteleon engine, I think pairing it with like Darkrai is just insane.
Yeah, I mean, now the better partner for Darkrai, the natural one now is Eternatus, I think, because you get a lot of Pokemon down. You can spread out the energies, and you can retreat your Pokemon to keep them from getting knocked out. Even with that, it hasn't been overly effective. So maybe
I feel like it's more of like a tech in Eternus though. Like,
yes,
it's an Eternus deck, and Darkrai's V-Star power is like good because it can supplement Eternus, but like now you just play 4 Seal Stone and like work it there. And it's like you just play it for Star Abyss. You don't really attack with Dark Pulse. There have definitely been like Turbo Darkrai decks that play like Dark Passion stuff.
Yeah, I mean the cards I consider, there's the Dark Pokemon that also has that ability, right, to discard and draw.
There's Liepard, yeah, but
right,
I mean that's like okay.
You could attack with it though, right? I know it doesn't accelerate energy.
Well, it only does 60. It's kind of bad.
Yeah, and then you have but you could use it. That's a consideration. And then there's the other dark one that when you play it, you can shuffle and draw 4.
Thievul, right?
Yes.
I misspelled. How do you spell it? Is it I-E?
Is it I-E, I think.
Okay, Thievul from... Oh, and there's also the Thievul from... what set is this? Is this...
See, we're just talking about how they're going to get rid of the symbols and replace them with the letters.
This is Astral Radiance, I think.
Yeah.
And it says if your opponent has 2 or fewer prize cards remaining, whenever the opponent plays a supporter, prevent all effects done to your bench V. Pretty much they can't like boss your Vs if you have this Thievul in play. So you can put that in a Eternus if you want, but yeah, it's kind of weird. You can do that, and then there's the Thievul you're talking about with the...
Right.
From Evolving Skies, which is pretty much like a Marnie, except it's only 4, so on play, but you can use as many times as you want per turn, which is okay, I guess. But you're losing like net, so...
Yeah. When I played it, net was a big part to keep it working. So yeah, you probably don't do that. Your idea there was better.
Of course.
Whether the deck actually I don't know if this deck's a good idea in the first place, but
Yeah, I think you haven't played much with Guard Engine, right? Or
no,
all?
I haven't.
Have you played PTCGO since Guardball came out?
No, I've been playing live, so I'm in that world of I can play. I have a Blissey Miltank, an Ice Rider deck, and Arceus Lugia, Arceus Lugia, and that's it. And that's all I see my opponents play also.
Yeah, no, I think Darkrai paired with Gardevoir is really good. I need to try it. I haven't played it in Standard much yet. But I think post rotation, it's not losing much, so I think it's pretty solid. But do you have anything better? Do you have anything that can beat Darkrai?
Number 2 deck definitely. This next, yes, I like this deck. I've played it. It doesn't get a lot of respect, but it's been decent, and I think it will. It might even get better with rotation. It's Rotom V.
Oh.
So everybody's favorite, right? So first, what does Rotom V do? Why don't you read that out?
Yeah. So it says, well, it has an ability that's like draw 3 and your turn ends, but that's whatever. But then you have an attack for lightning, for 2 lightning. It says 40 plus 40 per each tool card you discard from your discard pile that you put into the lost zone. So if you have like 4 tools in the discard, you can put them all in the lost zone, and then you're doing 200 damage. And also, I guess it's getting... You don't know the new cards coming out. I don't exactly know them either, but there's one that accelerates basic lightning energy to basic... I don't know, but it accelerates to Rotom, which is kind of good. But you think it's good for some other reason?
Well, no, and there is a V-Star coming out also of Rotom.
What's that?
And that's... it's got more HP naturally, which I didn't figure out what that is, and then the attack does 40 more. It's 80 plus 40 per tool, and then it has an ability that lets you discard, I believe, as many cards from your hand as you want, and then you draw that many cards.
V-Star power, right?
It's V-Star power. Sorry, yes.
Yeah.
So that could go in the deck, and you have the Porygon 2. Right, I believe that's what it's called. It's stage 2.
No, it's a stage 1.
Oh, it's a state.
Yeah,
Okay, yeah,
Porygon Z
you're
is
right.
the stage 2.
Yeah. So, that's a good late game attacker, right? It does 20 damage per
It's 20 per
um,
each tool in the Lost Zone.
Lost Zone. Right. So after you've attacked with Rotom V a few times, late game Porygon 2 can come in. And
Yeah.
for one colorless, so that's easy to get up later in the game.
I didn't realize it does it from both yours and your opponent. So if in the Rotom mirror, things are going to get crazy.
Well, it does. Well, certainly Lost Zone Engine's going to pick up, I think, with rotation though. So therefore, this could, Porygon 2 might even be viable in other decks too. If your opponent's playing Lost Zone, maybe you throw this in.
Well, but it's only tools in the Lost Zone.
That's true. So that's a good point. So, but then you have that. Then you've got potentially Articuno V with Galarian Articuno to discard 2, draw 1 just to help get rid of your tools. We're losing Quick Ball. That hurts the deck for sure. But once again, you get that combo. I would play it with Pokestop in Bruno.
Oh, I know.
And Welcoming Lantern.
Yeah, or you could play it with the Gardevoir engine, so you can accelerate energy and discard your tools. But it's really like squishy though, and you're also losing Cape, which seems kind of bad.
Cape hurts. That's true. You're losing Speed Lightning, but you do have the V-Star, which then that gets you the HP back. And don't forget the change that's being made to tools. Tools are no longer going to be a subtype of an item, but they're distinct from items. So Pokestop will itself discard your tools. So that change in the rules actually will help Rotom V.
I guess. It's not like helping that much though. Like if you want to draw with Galarian Articuno, you're not gonna necessarily. How many tools do you like play in the deck anyway?
It's at least 16. I'm trying to remember.
Okay.
16, maybe more. And you're going to play in Forest. Sealstone is a plus. You definitely play for that because to discard, and it gives you a V-Star power to use during the game too.
Yeah. If you're using the Rotom V-Star's V-Star power, you're not gonna like. Which is better? Probably. Probably the Forest Sealstone, right?
That'll certainly help you get set up earlier, searching for a card. So that you probably would use that one most of the time.
Yeah. Okay. That seems. I feel like it's not too bad, but like, I don't know. You also you probably play Galarian Meowth in that deck, right?
In the past, yes, I'm sure it would have. So that's a downside. Losing that for sure.
Yeah.
And like I said, we lose Quick Ball. We replace with Nest Ball, but that doesn't discard. So discarding is dropping some, which is a big impact to a lot of decks.
Yeah, I mean that's kind of bad as well. So like it feels like you're in a struggle. You do have Serena though, and you can kind of get them in the discard at least. But I don't think it's gonna be like the new top deck or anything.
No, but I found that Rotom V is surprisingly effective because it worked better than I thought. It seems fun. I tried it and it actually was winning more often than it was losing.
Yeah, it's pretty good type too. I guess it hits like Lugia and Palkia for weakness too, which is pretty good.
Yeah.
But okay, so I got the best deck here now. Actually, it's two fighting Pokemon, and the first one is Hisuian Arcanine V. It says it has an interesting ability that says you may move fighting energy from your other Pokemon to this Pokemon, and so that's kind of weird. But pretty much you get a bunch of fighting energy in play through various means. For example, you could use Galarian Zapdos from Falling Skies, or you can use the new like pickaxe thing, gutsy pickaxe.
Yeah, gutsy pickaxe.
Is it gutsy, right?
I think so.
Okay, gutsy pickaxe, which like accelerates energy. You probably need to use either Swap Cup or the Expedition Uniform to like stack your deck to hit that. But don't worry about that too much. You can just use the Zapdos or something. But and then you can get energy on. But then once it's on, it like stays on. So you are losing Stone Fighting, but hopefully you can survive. You can't cape up either. But a lot of decks will kind of struggle to hit 230, and I believe there's a new tool that's coming out that'll give it a bit more HP as well. Then you get this big Arcanine, and then your opponent like hits into it, doesn't KO it, now you can move all the energy to another Arcanine. You can theoretically remove this Arcanine from the board somehow with something like Volo or something like that. I think there's a new supporter as well, which kind of removes fighting Pokemon, or moves Pokemon from the board in some ways. And then you play this back down, and then you can like move the energy back on and stuff like that. And so I think you can get like this big Arcanine that your opponent's not really going to be able to take out. And it hits really solid damage. You can again play it with the Gardevoir engine, which I think's still very solid. And then also the other fighting Pokemon I had, which doesn't necessarily synergize super well with it, but it's the Aerodactyl. Yeah, Aerodactyl V-Star. Says it pretty much gains. It's pretty much path to the peak as an attack, which is kind of strange. But it gains an ability when it uses this V-Star power that says your opponent's Pokemon in V and play blah, 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 have no abilities. So it doesn't turn off EXs or Radiance, but it's like it turns off pretty much all the stuff that Path turns off. And so you can just use this to turn off Lugia and stuff like that. And then you can go in with Arcaps and just have a really strong attacker. So I think that's kind of fun.
Yeah, I mean, the danger with the V-Star is your opponent just going to knock it out the following turn, right? Because the HP is not huge on it, so you're running that risk.
Well, the idea is you have like you're against like Archeops and Lugia, and then they haven't used their V-Star power yet, and then once you use this, they can't really do anything about it. So that's kind of the idea here.
Right. It's not like a path to the peak that they have options to bump. They're stuck with this. It's not an ability either, right? No, it is an ability.
No. What are you going to say?
So if they played Canceling Cologne, it shuts it down then?
If this is in the active. This
right,
can
so
be
if
on
you
the
attack
bench.
with it that turn, I mean, look, your opponent's not playing Canceling Cologne to deal with this, but, I'm just trying to think that would get around it.
Yeah, they can Canceling Cologne. I'm trying to think. I think there's some other way. If there's something like Pokemon Ranger, that would like remove the effect, but that doesn't do it. I don't know. There are probably some weird cards, but I don't think so. But pretty much you just like you turn off a big counter like Lugia as well as some other like V-Stars and stuff like that. Yeah, but the main thing is the Hisuian Arcanine, which I think is very solid.
Yeah. Now, is Energy Lotto rotating? Or not? I was thinking for ways to accelerate.
When did that come out? Wait, Energy Lotto doesn't accelerate.
Oh, it just goes to your hand? Is that what it does?
That's the special energy one.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that was an Astral Radiance. But you can accelerate with...
It doesn't attach, though. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. You still have Mirage Gate. That's always good.
Yeah, right. Well, you have the lot, except you have two different types, so Mirage Gate's not good for
not for Arcanine, Hisuian Arcanine V.
I mean, you don't want to really play another basic type of energy in that deck, though, right?
Probably not. If you're leaning more into the Aerodactyl, you could. But right now, there's Aerodactyl Wheezing, which is a deck which isn't obviously surviving rotation. You're losing Wheezing, but it's like a deck that people play, and it's actually pretty good. And then, I mean, they don't play Mirage Gate, but you could do Lost Zone, especially because Aerodactyl's attack puts cards in the Lost Zone. So playing Lost Zone with this is fine.
Yeah. So, I mean, how good is this deck you're talking about going to be? I don't know. But we're looking for alternates.
Yeah.
Because we could just say Mew, because Mew's going to be good. We know that. It's not losing much. So.
But Darkrai beats Mew. And Single Strike beats Mew.
I think I'd rather, if I had
the
just given the choice
seems
of
pretty
decks.
good against Mew as well.
All right. Yeah, Mew's garbage. You're right.
Yeah.
Can't beat anything.
Exactly.
So, but Aerodactyl has not seen a lot of play. Maybe this is the chance it can pop off.
It's seen some, though. It's seen a little bit with Weezing. It's not garbage, but I think it can get better. So.
All right, shall I go and give my last deck?
Yep. Let's hear it.
All right, so the last deck, it's kind of the counter to the balance to your first deck. You went with the Single Strike with your first deck, and again, and my thought was the Rapid Strike is stick around also, and the Rapid Strike has been generally the better deck. So the best, but we're losing the engine, so therefore, like the Inteleon engine and such. So let's go with good old Sylveon V-Max and build the deck around that. which is a box type deck because with Sylveon, its damage is based upon the different, right. This deck, Max Harmony, does 70 plus 30 more damage for each different type of Pokemon on your bench. So you want to fill up your bench with 5 different type Pokemon from 5 different types. So you've got, you have Rapid Strike Urshifu, good Pokemon, no doubt about that. As you go, and if we're familiar with that, you can attack it with. You probably use the first attack on the VMAX more so with this. You throw in a Tower of Waters and swing into it for 150 probably rather than discarding all your energy. But then you also have Blaziken VMAX, which I'd put in the deck, which especially if you're using something like Urshifu, you throw the energy back on when you attack with it. You have Octillery to search. You have Rayquaza VMAX, which is an option which you're probably not attacking with, but its ability is very good. Discard your hand and draw 3.
It's not fair. It's good.
You're right. It's not very good, but since this deck doesn't have much of an engine, it typically would play Crobat V in the past probably, and that's going away. So this and Octillery are your engines, which all right, they're not the best engines, but at least they're engines.
Rayquaza VMAX as an engine's good, but I mean, I made a video where if you didn't watch this video, check it out. But I played it with a Alolan Vulpix V-Star, but you can also get 2 Rayquazas into play. And with Sylveon, you can only get like 1 Rayquaza.
Right.
I guess 1 Rayquaza plus an Octillery is probably enough to keep you in it, but still, you still have like Sylveon V's ability too, which is okay. But it feels like the deck's always been like inconsistent, and with rotation, it's not really gonna get more consistent.
Well, what you get, look, and then you got Zero Aura V as an option. You got Leafeon V, which is a good, if you get that out on turn 1, accelerates an energy. And you have the Spiral energy plus the Rapid Strike energy, especially with Blaziken, it gets you the different types of energy if you're using Zero Aura in particular. If you getting the deck set up is probably the big problem. But once you do, you have Octillery to get a Rapid Strike piece. You have your Stadium in play, your Tower of Waters, right? That's the Rapid Strike one. Then you can swing into a Blaziken every other turn, and the Blaziken will throw back energy, and it's pretty tanky.
Unless they're playing water, which there's a lot of water.
It was virtually unplayable for water. Water's not everywhere these days, and you don't have to play the Blaziken if you don't want to. The nice thing is because it's so many types, you can choose which ones you put into play in a game too.
Yeah, so, I guess. So you have like Blaziken, Zero Aura, which Zero Aura really needs Blaziken, but then you have Octillery, Rayquaza, Urshifu. Would you play like Cricketune? Or no, you play Leafeon? Do you like Leafeon?
I would probably play Leafeon. I when I played it in the past, I played it both ways. They both have value. You could even throw in a Leafeon V-Star for its ability.
Yeah. I think you can do Force Sealstone though, so
that's true, which is probably a better option.
Or that spread one as well, which could be okay in the deck. The Earth and Steel Stone. Right.
So
do you know what that does?
I don't remember.
Here, I'll pull it up. I'll pull it up for everyone. Let's see. It says you do 100 to each or you put damage on your opponent's bench. No, all your opponent's Pokemon V until their remaining HP is 100 for 3 colorless. So that's payable, and it's like spread, which is good with that deck.
Right. The problem with a card like that is rotation's going to drop the EXs. Everybody loves the new cards. You're going to half your opponents are going to not play Vs.
Yeah.
So you just got to deal with that.
Yeah, I think Sylveon has a lot of potential. Or you could I was gonna say, Sylveon Lugia. I kind of want to say, I know. I know. I was gonna say Sylveon Lugia Kecleon, but that doesn't work, unfortunately. But yeah, I think Sylveon has potential. So is that what you're gonna play post rotation?
I don't look. It's a deck. I would. These are decks to try out. To me, these aren't necessarily the best decks. They're decks that have some potential, is what I'd say, as alternates.
What deck are you gonna play post rotation? Call it now.
Well, if I'm, I guess if I'm sticking with live, it's whatever free deck they're giving me, probably. But if I'm choosing now, I'd probably go with an Arceus V-Star deck. Um,
Arceus? With
I
what?
think so. I'm not sure with what. That's a question, but that's the nice thing about Arceus. You get choices, and it's a bit. We're losing the engines, this particularly the Drizzile engine, right? And
Yeah.
Arceus's V-Star power V-Star power ability. I think that's the right way to phrase it, which is a bit crazy, but it's really, really good. So it gets you set up and it helps that be consistent. So you have Arceus, and then you compare it with whatever you want. It has to be a V, not an EX, obviously. But there's a lot of Vs to choose from.
Yeah. But like, it's fine. It certainly will stay in the game. Probably like Barbarrel or something, right? Or
Ye-
Guard Vengeance. Or Guard Venge.
Yeah, I mean, look. I think it will. It was dominant. It had dropped off. I think it's going to pick up with rotation, partly because people are comfortable with it and it feels safe. But it still is a good deck. It's probably better than it's not seeing the plays it probably deserves.
Yeah, yeah, that's fair. But I think that I guess I'll go with my last thought is going to be the deck I'd play is it's
Hmm.
I'm tempted to say I think I'm going to say Darkrai V-Star. I think Darkrai
Okay.
V-Star with the Gardevoir Engine's really good. I think Gardevoir Engine deserves a lot of play right now. I think it's one of the best, if not the best engine in standard right now. So I think it needs more
Yeah.
play. But yeah, that's where I stand. I think that's it. I think we're out of time. I think we're over time. But yeah, I hope everyone enjoyed. If you what are your hot takes? What are your sleeper picks for the new format? And what are you excited to lose? What are you not excited to lose? But as always, if you enjoy this, remember to like the video and subscribe to my channel if you really did. Also, you can check out Uncommon Fossils channel down in the description. And as always, I'm excited to see you in the next video.